So that's it, really. I think I've covered it all. So what do you think? Can you help me?
I don't think that, anyone can help you, Boris.
Oh, shame.
But not for the, reasons you might think, Boris. I've, done some terrible things in my life. Committed, heinous acts that I wouldn't want my grandchildren to hear. But what you ask?
Now, don't be so hard on yourself. Show a bit of inner belief. You can do this. We can do this together. It's called positive thinking. I learned that from a friend of mine, Harry Meghan Markle Windsor.
I've met him. But I think you misunderstand me. I think our, wires of communication are not synchronized.
Oh, apologies.
I like your, English eccentricity. It amuses me, entertains me, even. But now, I don't find you so funny or as charming.
Oh, stresses of a newish job, new wife, early 30s, new baby, and a dog to look after.
These are excuses. I'm not interested in them. Besides, they are not the reason for your decline. You used to have an affability that was genuine. It seemed real. But now, I'm not so sure.
I can tell you with 100% guarantee that I'm 100% the man I used to be. Look, I just need help getting this thing up and running. I'll take care of all the details. I just need your help with your, considerable and insistent influence to make sure that things go one way instead of another.
I thought I would see you, because I heard that you were a serious man. You, behave like a buffoon at times. But you have serious ambitions. I usually admire that.
Oh, I'm ambitious, all right. When they asked me when I was young what I wanted to be when I grew up, I said king of the world.
That sounds believable. I thank you for your offer. But my answer must be no, and I'll give you my reasons. It's true. I am friendly with, some influential people. But they would not be so friendly when they, hear what you're up to. I like to, serve justice to, people who deserve it. For those, unaccounted for in the legal system. But I do not believe in forcing people to, surrender their freedom. Accept, state control and, react to whatever sulfuric nonsense the volcano might spew.
That's because you don't know what's at stake. Look, there are going to be loads more global crises popping up, and we need to learn to deal with them globally, and that's going to require a certain level of, obedience. The people are highly strung, they won't let go of their precious freedom easily. So we need to, like a baker, but not dough, with brains. Need those brains, need them, soften them up, make them pliable, And I found that wokeism is a fantastic tenderizer of cognitive ability and rational debate. It can be hard to remove previously sacrosanct liberties if people are asking too many questions.
But what about these, people? Why are they so, insignificant? What have they ever done to harm you?
Now, you're seeing this completely the wrong way. I'm hardly a master villain, for Christ's sake. I only want what's best for the world. I'm hardly trying to harm them. In fact, I only want to remove that Promethean flame with which they can harm themselves.
Which is?
Freedom.
But what about those who say, no thank you, Mr. Johnson? I want to be free. Even with all the, dangers it entails.
Well, to be honest, I think they're being mighty selfish. I mean, why should their freedom, personal freedom, trump the government's right to govern?
But you don't ask to govern. You don't ask to govern. You ask for more.
Indeed, but only to protect people from danger. Yes, we're born free, but all the freedoms we now enjoy in terms of time and leisure, we owe to the state. You know, those freedoms only exist in an organised society.
Very good. How nice. The essence of government can evolve via a confluence of adept political oratory and academic thought on how unhappy people can instruct people who are happier than them on how to conduct their lives.
Yes, as we integrate into a tighter world, we need to adapt our blueprints of government to deal with the new crises that might emerge, all the new eventualities. It's as natural as the seasons.
It's funny that you said seasons. I think you're right. But the seasons change. The decay comes in, and with its bony hand, steals the blooms of summer.
How poetic!
No, don't speak. I'm not sure whether this seasons analogy refers to the forthcoming demise of your communist intentions, or whether this backward logic you use to justify your authoritarian desires spells the arrival of winter for Western civilization.
You're looking far too deep into this, but at the same time, not deep enough.
What did I just say to you about speaking?
Oh yes, I remember. Sorry, right.
I find your political proclivities intolerable.
Oh come on, that's a bit harsh.
But despite that, thank you for coming to my home on the bridal day of my daughter. Thank you kindly for the gift she received.
Yes. Now please tell her that voucher gets her 5% off any of the books I've written up to this point. Okay, I'm even going to throw in a stamped signature.
Ah, you're too kind.
Right. I'm going to go and see if there's any more of that pate left. Godfather. We've got this lockdown coming up. At the moment, we're playing the old. We're not sure. We might spiel, but mark my words, it's definitely coming. We need a circuit breaker, fire stop, nip it in the bud, lockdown this autumn. And that won't work. So we'll need a longer one through the darkest, coldest months of the year. It's the only way to stop the spread. Now, obviously, celebrities and politicians, important people, the sophisticated people, they won't have to follow all the rules all the time, of course.
Do you think that's fair, Boris? Do you think that's a good leadership strategy? To be in flagrant disregard of your own edicts?
Now, I don't know if you saw that study recently that proves that smugness absorbs CO2, making it not as bad when rich, smug people use private jets, because they are absorbing as they pollute. Now, in that very same article, that same research study, they proved that hypocrisy equals privilege multiplied by smugness squared.
I read that.
Oh, of course you did. And of course, it's well known that hypocrisy releases anticovicon into the bloodstream. Now, anticovicon is the hormone that, when released, prevents COVID-19 affecting that particular body that's now swimming in this hormone. It's also released during certain international football matches and BLM riots.
It was an interesting read. I agree.
Now, what we need from you is to get out there and use your powers and talents to convince the population to embrace the lockdown, or at the very least, fear speaking out against it.
And how would I do that?
Oh, get out there and chat with them at first. Help them see that lockdowns are the only way forward and out of our current predicament. And, if that doesn't work, then maybe, start to use some more insistent methods. Wink, wink.
I don't know what to make of your proposal. I don't know what influence you think I have. I've been known to pull a few strings. If a lady has a misfortune and her handbag is stolen, I've been known to retrieve the bag. I've been known to help businessmen bypass certain laws if the law is preventing them earning.
Oh, I know, you've got a tremendous reputation.
No, don't speak. I've been known to make certain things happen, make certain things disappear, but I cannot control minds. I can't even control my own son, Santino. He's a hothead. He acts without thinking.
You're starting to sound a bit defeatist.
People like to see their families, Boris. The world is nothing without family. You cannot expect people to live cooped up during the bleakest season, subject to arbitrary guidelines that are so frequently abandoned by those who enforce them.
Look, danger is danger, you know? And if it's dangerous to meet, I will have people locked down in their social bubbles, masked up to the eyeballs, even at home, preferably, you know? It might sound draconian, but we have a duty to look after the health and safety of our subjects.
No, you don't. That has never been an objective of a westernized government. It's an impossibility, too. You cannot make someone healthy. You are only ever as healthy as your quality of life.
Oh, nicely put.
Even if we play devil's advocate and accept that it is the government's role to keep us healthy, how can locking people up behind doors, behind masks, be considered healthy? How can you claim that people have a quality of life?
Look, we have to protect the NHS, okay? This is what those who don't obey the somewhat whimsical, at times, rules of social interaction forget. You know, they are endangering others by putting stress on the National Health Service.
It is an insult to the kindness that may have one day defined the objectives of the NHS to use it as a cudgel to beat the freedoms out of a frightened nation.
Now, hold on. It's more like using a harp to sing seductive songs to encourage the free riders back to the safety of the nest.
You have a talent for sophistry. You can rework any message, however odious, into something sweet sounding. It's impressive.
Oh, many thanks.
But once again, you ask me to do something that I cannot do. Something that I would not even consider if I were able.
Ah,
I find the idea of depriving people of their liberty, locked inside their own four walls, appalling. This will be the last winner some people will ever see. A number, I will guess, that will be far higher if you insist on this lockdown.
which is very likely.
Life is not something that you cling on to with dignity. You are not keeping these people safe, Boris. You are condemning them to loneliness and despair. Many who perhaps would have pushed on for many more years, taking their own chances and judging their own risk, will instead succumb to the misery of solitude and the bleakness of monotony.
Well, the plans are more or less in place.
Life is far more easily surrendered when there is little left worth living for.
Now, you sound like this barman I know.
You have my final answer, but thank you for coming to see me.
I think you're missing out on a big opportunity here to really make a difference, you know, really make a difference. But, that's completely up to you, entirely up to you. Far be it from me to try and make someone do something they really don't want to. Well, all the best.
Clemenza, I want you to keep an eye on that man. He's more dangerous than Don Tatalia and Don Barzini combined.
Confident that everything said in this room remains confidential. So I'm just going to come out and say it, Godfather. I haven't come here today asking for a favour. I've come asking for some advice. I've always had a weakness for women, and I'm sure in your line of work, Godfather, you've come across many people like me, who are infected with an addiction to the allure of allure. There's no point in beating myself up about it. I know, I hear you. It's just that I've got a new wife, young wife, early mid-30s, and, I'm committed. I'm committed to pledging my full attention to her and the jobs at hand. It's just that there are other women out there, waiting to be discovered. And, I can control myself for a while. In the end, my track record speaks for itself.
Have you ever considered self-control?
Oh, you make it sound so easy, Godfather. I've been down this road before. I felt confident. I felt unflappable. But then, it might just be the sight of a white blouse on a beautiful spring day, or the merest whiff of a passionate perfume. And then I'm off like a randy stoat. Like I said, I'm clean at the moment. I'm clean now. But how do I keep up this level of hygiene?
It's a difficult question to answer. I'm not personally familiar with your situation.
Oh, come on, Godfather. We're both powerful men. We're in the same boat here. Are you telling me honestly that you've never been attracted to a delicious young thing who's pressing herself up against you?
Of course, men are allowed to be attracted. But attraction and impulse are two different things. Attraction is a state of aesthetic whimsy. But attraction is not acted upon. Only impulse.
Yes, but...
No, don't speak. I made a commitment to my wife that I intend to honor. Real men don't make commitments they have no intention of honoring. My boys, Santino, Fredo, Michael, even my adopted son, Tom, they would lose respect for me if I was to desecrate the oath that I swore to their mother.
Yes, but Santino, he's a real womanizing rogue.
Which is a great shame, Boris. It indicates to me that he would make a poor leader. Nevertheless, if I was to be unfaithful to his mother, it would diminish his respect for me, and that would damage our family. And real men don't damage their families.
Oh.
A real man spends time with his family and dedicates himself to their happiness and their contentment. Real men dismiss fleeting urges as transitory, which they are.
Yes, but these little titillations make life worth living.
Well, that depends on whether you're a serious man, Boris. Whether you intend to achieve serious things.
Yeah, I certainly want to achieve serious things. That's why I've come to you for advice.
So you want to achieve serious things without being a serious man?
Yes, but, a bit boring, isn't it?
You're a fickle man, Boris. Fundamentally not to be trusted. Which saddens me because, we've always had such amiable engagements in the past. You used to be a likable character. I've said as much before. You're a perfect British blend of brains and buffoonery. You guffawed your way into power, and then by simply being the most identifiable member of Parliament. You were elected Prime Minister.
Oh, proud day, and a great one for our nation, as we, the Tories, under my leadership, improve lives and protect our permanently terrified citizens from unknown and unseen menaces.
It's interesting that you think this. I would be ashamed to be so deluded.
Oh no, it's not deluded. It's called being optimistic.
This talk makes me queasy. I will not legitimize your delusion. A delusion that comes from the very issue you came to me today to discuss.
Oh.
Your lack of seriousness is not limited to your relationships, Boris. It is clearly manifest in your farcical behavior and your lack of judgment.
Well,
you get bored too easily, Boris. You want to be doing something else, which means you place personal satisfaction above all else, which is a terrible, terrible attribute for a leader.
Yes, but if a man's not satisfied, how can he be expected to keep up with appearances and essential duties?
Discipline. Honor.
Yeah, it's all very good, but come on. How on earth do they satisfy the taste, the hunger for raw flesh?
The satisfaction that you chase is not one that can be attained. You get bored. Bored. It's boring. This is a pathetic way to behave. But when you're Prime Minister, it's a dangerous way to behave.
I do have a tendency to get bored.
Boredom is a sign of weakness. Your intellect and your charm propelled you, but they have lost their sheen with your ascent to power. They have been sucked into your boredom. They are your weaknesses now.
What do you mean sucked into the boredom? I mean, no disrespect, of course.
You allowed your intellect and your charm to justify your boredom. Why? Because you place personal satisfaction above all else, and it's always more satisfying to behave as we wish instead of as we must.
Too true.
I would advise anyone who thinks like you to stay away from positions of power. It is why you have so easily thrown away basic liberties and spread such unnecessary and unprecedented fear. Your leadership has forecasted the ugly sunrise of totalitarianism. Because you're not a serious man, Boris. Not in relationships, nor in governance.
I suppose so, yeah. Yeah, I suppose so.
Because you're bored. And you're bored because you place self-satisfaction of a kind that cannot be achieved above all else, to the point where you'll happily deceive to maintain a narrative or break principles you once so vociferously claimed to stand for without even the merest hint of acknowledgement.
Like when?
At which point you become lost to reason. You become enthralled by an unseen censor, marching a nation down the road to authoritarian rule.
Well, I prefer to call it enforcement of good practice.
Despite that, I always liked you on a personal level. You've been polite and gracious to my wife and children.
Oh, goes without saying, you know. Great woman, and great kids too, you know. I particularly like Fredo, you know. Sad he got fired from CNN.
I must say good day, and unfortunately without any hope that you'll desist with your destructive behavior. But nevertheless, you're always welcome in my home to discuss further matters, if you wish.
Oh, good on you, Godfather. You know, and I will consider what you've been saying, but, you know, I'm just not so sure, you know. somewhere between the ages of 28 and 35. Nice bit of swimwear. I'm just not so sure. Not so sure it can be done. Well, thank you very much, Godfather. I appreciate you hearing me out, and I must introduce you to this barman friend I have.
Amanda, bring me some warm water with some lemon. I need to detoxify.